What is going on, y'all? This is the Caveman. I'm here with Football with Oz Austin for episode 45 of Against the Blitz. And today we are giving you our hottest takes of the 2025 NFL season. These are things that we are going to want to track throughout the course of next year because, while hot takes can sometimes be perceived as clickbait or maybe they're exaggerated, these are things that we both firmly believe are going to happen and that we will support with what I believe to be very good foundational evidence. But before we get into all of our opinions here, I do want to, of course, plug the Discord, which we're trying to get into the habit of doing. So if you want to talk more football with us and other bullshit, that is linked down in the description. And I also want to give a shout out to our Patreon members. We do have a Patreon that we offer. It has a bunch of cool perks. Most importantly, if you just want to support your favorite creators, this is the best way to do it. So I want to give a quick shout out to them by name. Michael Penis Jr., Bama Nut, Calm Outlaw, Capybara, DJ, ISO, Hoshu, John Spytek, the biggest troublemaker, Spear, Murderface, Oz, Sam, and Stranger. So thank you guys for supporting. And of course, everybody that's in the Discord that makes it what it is. It's a great community down there. So I'm going to continue to gas it, not just because it's our thing, but it really is like, it's fun. If you're not doing anything and you open the Discord, there's some bullshit happening. So definitely check it out.
God, there's no way I'm not getting in trouble for like half of these.
Yeah, I know, right? I kind of thought like there's a couple on here. I'm like, yeah, that's a take.
It's not even that like I firmly believe where it's like, this is Bible, this is scripture, this is going to happen. It's just like, I think that this would be really cool if it happened, or this would be really interesting if it happened. And I firmly believe that it probably can.
Okay. Yeah, I think I agree. I wouldn't say that my takes are like, I think you expressed it well. I'm not going to sit here and bet on any of these things happening per se, but there's a path, there's a vision to it occurring. So yeah, I think once, you hear it out, it'll make complete sense. Like the amount of videos I've made in my lifetime where, people will either yell at me because they heard me say the hook for the first 5 seconds and think I'm ridiculous. Or then there's the other person that actually gets to the end of it. And it's like, you know what? I might not agree with you, but you at least made a sound argument. That's the goal.
Yes, that is the goal.
So
just not to be called insane for any of these.
Yeah, for real. So we have quite a few. I think, talking to Austin pre-show, we kind of went in slightly different directions with how we did these. I feel like I have more team-based items and Austin has more player-based items. So I think we're going to touch on a lot of ground here, and I'm excited to kind of dive into it. Although I think he has a couple more than I do, so I'll let him knock the first one out of the park.
First one. These aren't really in any particular order, but they might get a little bit riskier as they go on. But my number one, I believe that Drake London is the wide receiver 1 in fantasy football this season. And this is fully rooted in the fact that he was a man amongst boys when Michael Penix was throwing him the ball. 117 yards per game when he finally had a QB that was just willing to rip it for the first time in his career. At age 23, too. I feel like that's not that crazy.
No, not at all. I mean, I was before last season even started, I think I made some content expressing how I think Drake is going to go berserk because they are rumoring him to play out of the slot more. And, having Zach Robinson come over from Los Angeles with fucking Raheem Morris. God, I can't hate that fucking guy. Coming over with Raheem Morris and talking about how, we might see Drake in a Puka sort of role. And that's kind of what it ended up being. And he was not only producing, but he was like the favorite target on that team comfortably. And it was so exciting.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people think of him as like a T. Higginsy kind of player, as this just like outside vertical, because he's 6'4", he plays that kind of game too. But last year with Kirk Cousins, he had 100 receptions, just shy of 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns at age 23. So I don't think it would be too crazy to expect another pretty big jump when the QB he'll be playing with all year was the QB he dominated with. And he doesn't have a lot of target share to really share with, like Darnell Mooney, Ray McLeod, Kyle Pitts, no backup tight ends. Like there's not a whole lot to steal steal touches from him.
Yeah, and I mean, relatively speaking, I would argue that for a guy his size, he is one of the best route runners in the league.
Yes,
Like if you put
100%.
a lot of other guys and gave them that frame, they would struggle to be as smooth as he is. But for somebody that is so easily able to get in and out of breaks and run routes that guys like Amon-Ra are able to run so well, and to be able to get separation from the Puka roll, maybe inside and maybe on the outside. Like he really can go anywhere. He's not like a Mike Evans that's, if you threw Mike Evans in the slot, it's like, what's that tree doing there? Like, why'd you plant that tree
it
there?
just doesn't make sense. Like he's just
No.
better outside. But Drake London is as equal parts good inside outside, just like how Puka is. He just looks like he should be playing like Mike Evans. And he can. He absolutely can beat you over the top, catch it on top of your head. But like you said, like that's why he's so good in the red zone. That's why he had 100 catches last year with a bad quarterback for most of it, because he's just that good at getting open. Like it's not even just like his actual route running. It's just like it's the entire thing. He plays physical too.
Mhm.
He might be a top 3 most well-rounded receiver in the league.
Yeah, 100%. It's a shame that I feel like I'm having to fight that battle for him still. Like I think he broke out enough for people to recognize that, but I still don't think it's widely acknowledged, at least enough. And this year, even after a season, he had nearly 1,300 yards. If that was the number you said, right? He had like
just about. Yeah, he had
just about
1271. Yeah.
like that's a breakout. That's a pretty significant season.
Yeah,
And
in your
for there
third
to
season.
be potentially another level there, that's pretty fucking scary. Like,
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I don't disagree with that entirely. And in your fantasy draft, see somebody that's going early second round. Like you can pair him with a lot of dangerous people because he's
Like,
not going high.
yeah, like my favorite turn is Achan and Drake London at like the little 12, 13 there, and it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything that I've been preaching.
Both two are guys that I believe could easily be number one at their position.
Yeah.
But I like that one a lot because I've been a big Drake London fan for a while now. And I don't think it's insane to say he's better than Amon-Ra, but I'll save my banter for
It's not crazy.
another time.
It's not because he's bad. It's just because Drake London's that good.
Yes. Thank you. I find it funny though, just as a quick side note. Allen Robinson, I guess, is now doing television. I don't know if you caught that. Yeah. And
wasn't he like just a Steeler?
Yeah.
Where did he go?
Like all of a sudden he was on my Twitter page and he was like talking about how the Lions have the best wide receiver duo in football. I'm like,
didn't he play there too?
Detroit?
I think that was actually his last team. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Did he play a snap?
I think he had 3 catches. I think he had 3 catches for 30 yards.
Wow, I don't remember that.
In 2024, last year.
Wow, well, he must like those guys a lot.
Well, he had 3 catches, so I mean, it kind of makes sense that you didn't remember him. That's probably how many like Tom Kennedy had.
Yeah, Tom Kennedy, like
that preseason demon, Tom Kennedy.
Yeah, I remember. I just am never pulling that name out ever on the spot. All right, well, I'll get into my first hot take then too. And this is one that I feel like is being preached pretty commonly. So I felt a little bit cowardly for kind of using it. But I do firmly believe it's very, very possible. I think that the Commanders do see a significant drop-off in 2025 compared to 2024. And to me, I interpreted the season that Washington had is almost fairy tale-ish. Like they had a rookie quarterback, a head coach that not a lot of people were inspired by. He blew the biggest lead in Super Bowl history, for fuck's sake. They hired, an offensive coordinator who, after getting fired from his last job, took a trip to Taiwan. Like they had a washed linebacker leading the way on the defensive side of the ball. They've been one of the most cooked secondaries for like 4 years now. There just wasn't much going for them. Everything was so new, but it all just clicked. And there were just no real hiccups for such a new brand of Washington football. And I kind of feel like they're banking on the stars aligning again. Like this offseason was not one that I felt like they took advantage of to try and really build on that momentum. And of course, they're going to think that they're a good team and that they didn't need many more pieces. That's well within their right. But, their big acquisition on offense was Debo Samuel. They traded for Laramie Tunsil, which I honestly think is better for the long term of the Texans than it will be the Commanders. And then on defense, it's like, what did they do? I think they signed Jonathan Jones. They overpaid Javon Kinlaw.
God,
Like
that was the worst move in free agency. I made that clear on Twitter. And
terrible.
that's what I was going to say about this team is I actually do appreciate their offensive line. Like getting Tunsil, I appreciate that. And I appreciate Jaden Daniels. I think that he's closer to top 5 than he is to number 10. I appreciate Terry McLaurin. I think Debo Samuel's a little overhated. But looking at the defense, like that's not a championship level defense. And in fact, I think it got worse. Like Jonathan Jones was toast last year. He was getting toasted. Dietrich Wise, Javon Kinlaw, Dorrance Armstrong. Like that's our plan to rush the passer alongside a Bobby Wagner, who is old enough for AARP, and Frankie Louvu, he's not some young, spry, third year player himself. I mean, to rely on Marshawn Lattimore to be your main corner, that's not good. And I think that when you're going against the Eagles, the Rams, maybe the Lions, if they still have it in them, like you have to have a good defense, and especially a good defensive front. And I think that their defensive front is not intriguing when Javon Kinlaw is a starter and an important one at that.
100%. And that's kind of really the problem. It's like Washington has been notoriously seen as a team with a secondary that's always getting beat. It's like you have receivers in fantasy going against the Commanders. Get ready for like a 30 bomb. Like AJ
Benjamin
Brown.
St. Juice was getting picked on. Yes. God, that poor guy.
Like bullied, straight bullied. And that is supposed to be the worst part of that defense. And it's, at least on paper, it's not. Like there is not a single player I look at on the defensive front and I am scared of. It really is just a bunch of rotational pieces mashed together with the hope that Frankie Louvu is just as good as he was last year. That's what I interpret the plan to be. And, that can be said across the board. Like the Commanders, every single player from the top of the roster to the bottom played above expectation. And that's why they got where they got. And it just is way too much to ask that to happen again. And whenever people, and I think this is the difference between my take and the take that other people have when it comes to the Commanders. Everybody's like, oh, well, Jaden Daniels will have the sophomore slump that CJ Stroud had, and the Commanders are going to struggle. It's like their fall off will have nothing to do with Jaden Daniels and a sophomore slump. At least I firmly believe. It will just be the rest of the function failing, like horribly failing in many, many detrimental ways. And anybody that watched CJ Stroud last year would know that's exactly what happened to him. Like he didn't hit this sophomore wall. He didn't just suck because it was his second year and people got film on him and all of a sudden he's figured out. It's like, no, he was actually playing great football for the first third of the season.
Yeah.
And then we hit the halfway point, and all of a sudden you could see the pressure starting to really affect him. He was missing throws he typically would hit, and he wasn't extending plays that you were used to seeing him extend because he just was freaked out. He was frazzled. Like you could see that internal clock being rushed every single time he dropped back, and it affected him long term. So that's not a sophomore slump. That's just being affected by your surroundings.
And I'm not even afraid of Jaden Daniels for that, because like my biggest issue with Stroud as a prospect was that he did get frazzled. And my biggest thing that I liked about Jaden is he really doesn't. But like, I'm not even worried about the offense. No. I think they'll be the exact same thing they were last year. But like, when you get dismantled by the Eagles in that game and there's nothing that you can do to not really fix it at all. Like I liked their draft on paper, but as of right now, not a single one of them is projected to even start. Trey Amos is really the only guy that I think can even really rotate in. And he's a corner. Like the front seven was the biggest issue. Their run defense, if you remember how big of a deal that was. Bobby Wagner was their run defense, and he's another year older. So I don't know. I'm just not really a big fan of relying on 35-year-old Bobby Wagner to be the safety of my front seven.
Yeah, absolutely not. And you mentioned the Lions and potentially what they could be. I I also am a part of the camp that thinks we could see regression from Detroit, but at
Mm-hmm.
least with the Lions, they have strong bones. Like you look at
Mm-hmm.
that team and there is a baseline of talent across the board that you can trust to at least raise their floor.
Yes.
That's not the case with
No.
Washington in the
No.
least.
For the
So,
Lions, your worry is that you might think that Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn were really responsible for the success, but you're not. You're not shaking because you think that like they lost a ton of crazy good players. Like obviously losing, your center and your guard's a big deal, but like you're not projecting someone to lose like 4 extra games because you lost two offensive linemen. It's just that like for the Commanders, they didn't really. It's not that they lost anybody; they just didn't get any better.
mhm.
And when you have older players on your defense, like Marshawn Lattimore, like Bobby Wagner, even like kind of like Frankie Louvu, like you need to get a little bit better behind them. And I just don't think that they did.
No, not at all. And the NFC, at least maybe teams of this caliber, like last year, could have gotten away with maybe not being the most talented and just playing above expectation because, quite frankly, the conference has been up in the air, we'll say, for the
Mm-hmm.
last few years. Like other than the couple top teams, it's really just been a bunch of mid,
Yeah.
kind of throwing haymakers. Whereas the AFC is like World War III. So now we're looking at potentially a different type of landscape for the NFC with the Rams kind of having their expectations back. The Eagles exist. People are finding a little bit more faith in the Cowboys, which I think is justified. Who knows
Fair.
what the Cardinals are like? The Seahawks, like there is a lot more of potential competition than I think there has been in years past, which could also just completely derail this team from even being in the playoffs. Like I think my final projection for them will be an 8 to 9 win team. They'll go
Mm.
under their 9.5 win total. Whether that's a playoff team or not, I guess is yet to be seen. But I don't think they're a 10-win team at
Wow.
all.
I mean, they won what 12 last year, and I can recall a few games off the top of my head that they won by the skin of their teeth. So I mean, I really would not be surprised if they dropped a few of those games. And I am the world's biggest Jaden Daniels believer there is.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe in their offensive line. I like what they did. I just don't think that they can do enough with a pretty modest receiving core to take over. Like I don't think Terry McLaurin's getting much better. I don't think Zach Ertz is getting much better. I don't think Debo's getting much better. I don't think Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler are getting any better. So when a lot of your most important skill position players too are, they're just not their best forms anymore. You see a little bit of regression from them, and if you see enough regression from enough starters, you lose a few extra games. That's just how it goes, especially when you don't have enough young rotational players to back them up. So unless someone like Johnny Newton becomes a beast, unless Trey Amos comes in and is playing at an all rookie level, I could definitely see it.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting watch because I think the assumption that they're just automatically a playoff team because they were in the NFC Championship it's bold. Like the Eagles
Mhm.
dismantled them because the Eagles are a very good team, but I mean, poor Jaden Daniels had to scratch and claw for 7 points, and then their defense walks out on the field, and he's all of a sudden Jaden's walking back out there because Saquon takes a fucking
Yeah,
touchdown to the house on the first play. It's like, okay, well,
Jaden Daniels was one of the best players on the field of
yeah.
either team in that game,
Mm,
but just the literal rest of his entire roster gave up. So
yep.
yeah, not hearing that. But I have another wide receiver take. I promise this is the last of my wide receiver takes. But I believe that Rome Odunze finishes with more yards and touchdowns than Marvin Harrison Jr.
Wow. I mean, I know you're not the biggest Marvin believer, but I know you're not the biggest Rome believer either. So that's
I
some
am.
strong.
I am a believer in Rome. I wasn't a believer in him last year
Okay.
because of just walking into what he had, like using Keenan Allen the way that they were supposed to be using Rome. It was weird. Like, and it's not that I'm low on either of these guys. These are both probably top 10 receivers I've ever scouted. they're both probably closer to top 5 receivers I've ever scouted. It was just like, I think that people were putting Marvin in a conversation that like Julio was in, that Jeremiah Smith is currently in. And I feel like it was a little bit too much, even though he was a top 5 player on my board. But Rome Odunze was like number 8. So like, I don't think that the gap between them was quite as massive as people think. And I think that Marv is going to have to do a lot to reach that 1,000-yard mark. But so much has been done for Chicago. So like for Marv to reach, 1,100 yards, you would have to hope that he himself develops, because nothing else really changed. You're just going to have to hope that he gets better. But with Rome, they lose Keenan Allen. They gain one of the best offensive minds of all time. And you can see why Caleb Williams would be better. The offensive line is better. So I think like the avenue for him to pass Marvin really isn't that crazy.
Yeah, I don't see how that can be controversial, to be honest, especially after what was inarguably an uninspiring season from Marvin, per expectations, of course.
Yeah, he's still good, but yeah.
Yeah, but I do want to ask, like the of course the viral offseason bullshit that goes on. Players that maybe have some questions always have propaganda come out about them to maybe like drive their hype back up. And for Marvin, it's pictures of his arm size being different. Like all of a sudden he's
love it.
Like,
yeah,
it's great. But in your opinion, was that even the problem? Like, did he need to be more physical?
Partially. Like I don't think it was an actual physical strength problem. I think it was a mental strength problem.
Okay.
Like when you see someone that came across as this generational jump ball guy, this guy that will attack the football, come down with it. Like, how often do you recall a time where a ball was thrown up to Marv and he just sunned the corner, where he was like, I am bigger than you, I'm better than you, just goes up and snatches it off the top of his head? Like, there wasn't a lot of those. It was more a lot of balls that he just gets into his frame. A lot of just really good thrown balls by Kyler and good routes by Marv. But I don't think the problem was his actual size and physical strength. I think it was just how he used it. But if he's just bigger and still not using it, he's just slower.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything, I'm like, I just wanted him to be himself, but just play harder.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, because the way you're describing him, it's just he kind of was a catch and stride merchant, like Jameson.
I mean, kind of.
But
I think he was a ball tracking merchant. Like,
yeah,
like I think he tracks the ball better than probably any prospect I've ever seen. And I think that he just has so much faith that when the ball's coming to him, he's just going to catch it. But I don't know. I just didn't feel like he had that extra oomph to like really try and dominate. Whereas someone like Rome, like I have seen him do that, and I know he does that. And he has that kind of personality. Like, he is a hardworking individual, and I'm sure Marv is too. But for all the things that went right with Rome, I think he only had about 130 total yards less than Marv last year. But the way you hear them talked about, it sounds like Marv had 1,100 and Rome had 400.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't separated by that much, which is why I think that like gaining all the stuff that Chicago gained and the Cardinals not really gaining anything offensively, I feel like that can meet in the middle.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree, especially because I myself have been a fan of Rome also. Like, I think Rome is the perfect compliment, especially for a guy like Caleb. Like, Caleb is going to want to unleash that ball down the field. And DJ Moore, to me, I think is somebody that can be that, but he's more, as we saw last year, he's better fit to be that yards after catch guy. Get the ball in his hands quick and
he's a Z all the way a Z.
Oh yeah, like that frame. He's got that burly type, almost Debo-like frame that he can just bounce off bodies and really churn for a couple extra yards. But it's Rome that you're going to, heave that ball downfield like Caleb is, doing his theatrics in the backfield, and then he just throws the dumbest ball ever up 50 yards down, and that's where Rome is. Like, fuck it, Rome's down there somewhere is maybe a meme we'll see someday, because that's the type of connection I think these two guys can have, because their skill sets complement each other in that exact way.
Yeah.
So move on to my next take. This one is positive. I've come to realize I do lean to the negative stuff, but this one's positive. And I've kind of alluded to it in some past episodes we've done, but I think that Tyler Warren accumulates over 700 yards and becomes just the fourth rookie tight end in NFL history to have 10 or more touchdowns in
Hmm.
his rookie season. To me, Warren is not just a great prospect, a jack of all trades, but he's a weapon that the Colts desperately needed. He is somebody that, of course, can attack the football, but he's great after the catch. Like
Hmm.
56% of his yards his final year in school were after the catch. In Indianapolis, as I did my research and found out, ranked dead last in yards after catch for players, for everybody, like literally
Yeah.
dead last. And
Hmm.
the name of today's game on offense is yards after catch. Like the best teams, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Eagles to some extent. Like you go look at how many yards they get after the ball is in someone's hands, and it's a lot. Like manufactured touches are the name of the game. And that's part of the reason why the Colts offense just looks so dastardly. Of course,
Hmm.
Anthony Richardson can't hit the broadside of a barn, and Joe Flacco's 55 years old, but it doesn't help when skill position guys are not helping do any type of legwork either, or play calling isn't kind of helping out your slacking quarterback in that regard either.
Yeah.
Whereas Tyler Warren is that. So I think they're going to do everything they can to get the ball in his hands, manufacture him touches, and he is going to be a target hog,
Yeah.
almost a Penn State-esque role, honestly.
Almost to my thing, I don't think that he gets 10 receiving touchdowns, but I absolutely think that he could definitely get 10 total. Because
Mm-hmm.
I would not be shocked if he gets 4 rushing touchdowns. Because I think that they've always wanted to use Anthony Richardson as this like QB power, designed run on the 3-yard line, punch him in, and he's great at it. But then he gets hurt. Like that's just how it's been. But Tyler Warren, like they're not really as much afraid to get a tight end hurt. They're gonna pound him,
Mm-hmm.
especially because Jonathan Taylor's been getting hurt. So if Jonathan Taylor can't stay healthy, I would not be shocked if Tyler Warren takes over a pretty big goal line role.
Yeah,
And,
I
and,
mean,
and that's not something that Steichen would be shy of either. He's not been afraid of, different variations of QB sneaks.
not in the least. And I think something that we could even see them get creative with as well is, the wildcat stuff that Warren has done, that we've seen Derrick Henry do, where it turns into a pop pass. Like
Mhm.
that's the kind of stuff you could probably do with Tyler Warren. And I think even to some degree they wanted Richardson to be able to have the play recognition ability and quickness to be able to make decisions like that, but he doesn't. Like he
No.
just would throw picks. Like he would go to
Yeah.
run and then go to throw, and all of a sudden the ball is in the other team's hands. It's like he just couldn't do it. But I think a guy like Tyler Warren could, and that's exactly what this Colts offense needs, is that sort of spark to kind of do something more. Because Josh Downs I think is good. Michael Pittman is Michael Pittman, but it's just mid. Like they need that one
Yeah.
focal point.
And I like Pittman. Like I just feel like he's had the most below average quarterback after below average quarterback. Same with like Alec Pierce. Like Alec Pierce put up like 850 yards last year and nobody cared.
Yeah.
Like nobody cared because it's just it all looks the same. Every single receiver on that team just wins downfield. Even Downs, like who you think is this like small gadgety kind of guy, his best routes are downfield
Mm.
because he's springy and he's quick. But like there's not a whole lot happening, like you said, after the catch, like putting him on drag routes, throwing screens. Like, why would you design a screen to Alec Pierce or to Pittman? It makes no sense.
Right.
Josh Downs would just get destroyed. And Jonathan Taylor is not a good receiver. He's capable of it, but like he's not. He's not that great. So Tyler Warren is by far their best tight end, by far their best run after catch player, and probably damn near their best goal line back.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Taylor's great at it, but he's always hurt. So I really would not be shocked to see if Tyler Warren sets some kind of touchdown record for a rookie.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's very possible. And they were so excited to land him. Like they were somehow surprised that Warren made it to them. I remember seeing the video of Ballard in the war room, and he's just like kind of making some stupid ass face, like, oh my God, the league really let the Colts get Tyler Warren. Like, we're not scared, buddy.
They've been
but
trying to do that with Kylan Granson forever.
yeah.
Like they've been trying to make that work. They
Yep.
went Will Mallory. Like they've been trying to make this work for so long. It just hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And this is their best chance to do it. since Dallas Clark.
Yes, absolutely. I thought they had better tight end history, but other than Dallas Clark, they actually have had
If you go
horrendous tight
back
end
to like
history.
John Mackey,
Yeah,
depends how far you want to go back. You got like John Mackey, Dallas Clark, and then Colby Fleener is the next best one.
I looked up an article of the best Colts tight ends in franchise history, and the list I came across, granted, it did preface that 2 through 4 were interchangeable, had Jack Doyle at 2.
Jesus Christ.
So if that goes to show the state of the history of Colts tight ends, then
Jesus,
I don't know. I don't know what does.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Well, I'll keep it on the tight ends, and this actually kind of does play off of my previous one too. I think that Trey McBride will have a top 10 receiving season ever for a tight end in terms of yards. And the record is set at, so the 10th best of all time was Todd Christensen with 1247, 1,247. And Trey McBride is coming off of 1146. And like I was talking about in a previous episode, I would not be shocked if a 25-year-old tight end has a much better season this year, especially because they didn't really do anything to their offense. They didn't add any receivers like Zay Jones coming back, Greg Dortch. That does not move me. And I think that a lot of my issues with Marv was like he's just, especially as a prospect, like when I was comparing him in Malik Neighbors, was like when I look at the avenue for volume, I don't see Marvin Harrison being a 120 catch guy ever in his career. That wasn't even him at Ohio State. Like he only had like 70 catches a year. So I think that they are going to funnel this passing offense through Trey McBride again. But I just think I think he's just rapidly improving every year. And he has. Like his production has gotten significantly better every single year. So I just don't think it's going to stop now.
I remember when they first drafted Trey McBride, I'm like, who's this guy? And then,
Ooh.
if I remember properly, he didn't really do anything his rookie year, right? Like
he had
even play?
265 yards and 1 touchdown.
Yeah, and then out of nowhere comes sophomore year Trey McBride, and he is a fucking phenom. Like, talk about man amongst boys. Like he plays with that aggression. That he attacks the ball so damn well. It's like
he plays like that tight end way.
Yes.
Like the way that like Kittle has always played. Like the way that all of these best tight ends have ever played. So he's played 3 seasons. Rookie year, 265 yards. Second year jumps to 825. Last year jumps to 1,146. Like you see a kid that went to a Mountain West school in Colorado State, comes into a terrible Arizona Cardinals team, and is just rapidly developing on his own. So now that this team looks a little bit better, now that him and Kyler Murray have built even more rapport, like he is wide receiver 1 on that team. I don't want it to be confused with like he's sharing with Marv. Marv is sharing with him. Trey McBride is the alpha on that team. And I just find it pretty hard to believe he would regress this year. And he wasn't honestly that far off in the grand scheme of things. Also considering he only played 16 games last year. So if he played one more game, he absolutely could have been top 10 last year.
Yeah. I mean, he is, like you said, the top target on that team. Like Kyler relied on him a lot. Like he was the fuck it down there somewhere guy for Kyler. Yeah. And the best part was he was able to, he was so successful with it too. It's like I said, when I initially, like my first impression of Trey McBride was, this second round pick comes into his, first year. He's like, nothing. And then all of a sudden he bursts on the scene and now he's become the alpha of that offense. And for a guy like Kyler that, you can talk about what the problem was with Kyler last year all you want, but the one good thing they have going is the connection between those two. Like that is the saving grace of their passing offense is their connection. Because if it were not for Trey McBride, like they'd be in a pretty bad spot, quite frankly.
Yeah, 100%.
So I like that one. All right, my next one, I have another team-based one, and we were just talking about the Colts, and I feel like I want to return to them. So I think that there's a possibility the Colts finish with a better record than the Jaguars in 2025. So
okay. I'd have to break that down.
Yes. So
Yeah.
my thought process behind this is pretty straightforward. It's based off of continuity versus upside. So we have the Jaguars, who are probably on the biggest upswing of any team in the league right now, given their recent rebrand. Liam Cohen, James Gladstone, Travis Hunter, you got Lawrence and BT. Like, there is so much to be excited about. It's hard to be pessimistic, but just because you open a new store doesn't mean the customers are going to flood in. Like, there's going to be growing pains. There are going to be financial difficulties at times. Like, they're going to struggle. There are going to be pain points. And I don't think it should just be assumed that this whole change of scenery means that they're vaulting back into true competition.
Right.
So, where on the other hand here, we have a team in Indianapolis who Shane Steichen has somehow gotten 17 wins out of over the last 2 years with Gardner Minshew, Joe Flacco, Anthony Richardson. Like, they have been competitive. And most of this team is returning. Their secondary is one of the most underrated in football.
Very much so.
They have upgraded across the board, including at the quarterback position, assuming Daniel Jones does start. And with the addition of Tyler Warren and Lou Anarumo, if he can unlock Latu, like, there is so much here that I can lean into and feel more confident in, because there is actually like previous evidence supporting something being built. Whereas Jacksonville, it's a lot of hope more than it is any sort of proof. And a lot of the problem with Jacksonville for me isn't even so much the offense. It's the defense. I mean, they still don't have an interior defensive lineman. They were like 31st in EPA per play allowed last year. They were like 32nd dead last in pass rush win rate as a team. Like, those issues still exist. I don't see who's fixing those problems. Like, the front office is great, but they're not playing football. Yeah. So I have my concerns about Jacksonville.
I kind of agree. But looking at the Colts' entire depth chart, I think that they are at least sufficient in everything. Their receiving core is fine. Their offensive line's fine. Their running back room is awesome. Now with the tight end, they have a great tight end room. Looking at their defensive line, like, it's extremely well-rounded, and they keep adding people to it. Their linebacker core, like, it's fine. Their corner room, their safety room, heavily improved. I really like Nick Cross, Cam Bynum. Big fan of Tarvarius Ward, Kenny Moore. And then you look over to Jacksonville, and you look at the offense, and it's really exciting. But then you look at the defense, like you said, you have Mason Smith at defensive tackle. He is awful. He is like Deion Walker if Deion Walker was a lot smaller. And then you also have a, honestly, pretty sad looking secondary. Like, you have a bunch of guys that I think can fill in and do fine. But when you have 5 players that are all rotational players, it's not a good thing. Like, I think they have one of the best linebacker duos in the league. I think they have a really good edge rusher group. But outside of that, I really hate what I'm looking at. And especially when you have Liam Cohen, who is a proven talented offensive coordinator, he's not a proven talented head coach. And I think that Jacksonville's biggest issue also was the morale of the team. It just didn't feel like a lot of people were fully bought into what they were trying to do. And Liam Cohen, I mean, it's a sour taste after the whole Duval thing. But he's never really came across as the kind of guy to, make you want to run through a wall. He's not the kind of guy that is like building you up, developing people. He's just a good play caller and a good offensive designer. But he's going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting if he wants to make this Jaguars team better than the Colts team.
Yep, agreed. I mean, it's more flashy and exciting in Jacksonville, whereas Indianapolis, it might be, gray outside, it's dark, but you still like know what's happening in that organization, and you can believe more in it because there's more of a kind of going back to the whole like Commanders conversation. It's like when you just flat out look at the team that they have compared to, in this case, Jacksonville, it is better on paper almost in every spot. I think Jacksonville has them in some of the most important ways.
Yes,
but that doesn't
huge,
equate.
like,
Yeah, that doesn't equate to team success. So
No, quarterback and receiver, giving that to Jacksonville. Sure,
mhm.
by a lot. Just about everything else except maybe linebacker and edge. I'm taking Indianapolis.
Yeah, easily.
Not a fan of either coach. Also, so I'm not sure what
Mhm.
to think there.
I don't know how to feel about Steichen because I think he interestingly handled the quarterback stuff. Like I think he
Yes,
probably went about it properly, but there was clear whenever there's fraction in a locker room, the coach is failing to some degree. That's just the nature of it.
that's true.
But once again, talking about results of what we've seen from them these last couple of years, any coach that can somehow get 8 and 9 wins from the quarterback he's had to play with and deal with is he's got to be doing something right.
I do
So
agree.
it might not be flashy or exciting or inspiring, but I think he deserves credit for that.
Mhm. I know there was a lot of firing talk, there was a lot of hot seat talk. I think they should let Chris Ballard go before they do anything else.
Yeah.
But Chris Ballard also had a pretty decent offseason. Like I actually really like what the Colts did. Minus really not going after much of a quarterback. But I do believe Daniel Jones is in his best chance to succeed in a long time. And I actually almost put as one of my other hot takes. I think Daniel Jones wins the starting job and does not give it back.
Yeah.
Like I don't think AR starts a game unless Daniel Jones gets hurt, and that's just how it should be. He's just as bad as he's been. He's been way better than AR's been,
Mm-hmm.
and
And
Jones is honestly still getting better.
yeah, I mean, Daniel is also the archetype of quarterback that Indianapolis does want. Somebody that can also be mobile with his legs. Like Daniel Jones, don't forget it. He can
Hey,
move. He does run the rock. Like that's what they were attracted by with Richardson and wanting to get that QB power involved in those option plays with the running backs and be
yeah,
creative. Those are things that Daniel Jones can also do. Maybe not as well, but he's not this statue pocket passer that they had to deal with Flacco. Like the stark difference between fucking Richardson and Flacco, like you could not have found two quarterbacks farther apart. Daniel Jones kind of meets you in the middle a little bit, and everyone does have a sour taste in their mouth about poor Daniel, but another guy that's a hard worker that has always just put his head down and did what he had to do. And like you said, this is easily the best supporting system he's had in his entire career by a long shot, especially when it comes to the offensive line, because now he's got
yeah.
a top 5 group in front of him, where in New York, it was never even close to that.
No, no, it was. It's also the difference between having the sweet, Midwest people, hardworking blue collars of Indianapolis versus having whatever demons are being bussed over to over to MetLife. Like it's a big difference. Like having people, boo you, scream at you, throw batteries at you while they're supposed to be your fans, as opposed to Indianapolis, where like they'll just kind of golf clap for you.
Yeah.
It's a big difference. Like I've been to Indianapolis a couple times to go to Pacers games, and they're all way too nice to me. Like that's why I keep going back. They're not hard enough fans. But in New York, no one wants to go to MetLife.
Mhm.
Giants fans don't want to go to MetLife. It's a big difference, and I think that will make a difference to Jones, whose biggest issue has kind of seemed to be mental.
Absolutely. For those that have been around my Discord for a while,
Oh,
I crowned him as Mr. Upside prior to last year, and I've been clowned for that. I think I might have to bring it back though for 2025.
you should bring
Mr.
it back.
Upside
Yeah,
for the Colts. I firmly believe.
I like that.
So.
Jeez. Ooh, all right, my next take. I believe that Justin Tucker will score at least 3 points this year.
What? For who?
I think somebody
No.
will do it, and they will get clowned.
No.
Deshaun Watson got traded for and then paid like a $1 zillion. Justin Tucker is better than Deshaun Watson, and there are teams that you as a Bills fan, you don't quite know at your age, but
Okay.
because older Bills fans will know. They will know
All
all about it. But there are some teams that have had awful kickers year after year after year. And if they have a kicker go like 16 of 24 and they're still a decent team come playoff time, Tucker's suspension is over. there could definitely be a team to be like, all right, morals aside, like we are we are gonna do it.
No way. No fucking. The thing was, like, Justin Tucker was that, like, 16 for 24 kicker last year. So it's like, you have to believe he somehow isn't washed or a felon slash abuser slash
Hey,
whatever. Yeah, like, no way. No, I can't get behind
sometimes
this one.
sometimes you have to let go of your morals. Sometimes you just have to take the internship at Lockheed Martin. You have to you have to do whatever you got to do. Put morals aside. This is for your career.
I can't get behind this one. I'm sorry. There's no fucking way this guy gets picked up. I can't
Deshaun
see it.
Watson got paid $1 billion after the almost the exact same thing. Like the difference between them, actually, Deshaun's was pretty much worse.
Yeah.
Like he had a higher body count, and still was paid. Like this is just a kicker. You could slide him a vet minimum and be like, hey, listen, I know you're unemployed. And like, there's no way that parents are letting you come to a kicker camp. Like, you're not getting paid checks that way either. So like, this is your only chance to get one last like $2 million. I think
Yeah.
that somebody. I think that Pittsburgh has no morals. I think there are a lot of teams with no morals. Where if Chris Boswell, pulls a hammy, and they're playing against the Ravens, I would not doubt that they would sign Justin Tucker.
Man, oh man.
Cleveland could do it. He's been beating the shit out of them for a decade plus. I would not be shocked if they're like, okay, our turn. And then he kicks a game-winning field goal against the Ravens. And I only projected 3 points. I'm not saying he's going to come as a new starter, but if all the kickers out there are taken, and all the other ones are like XFL kickers, I wouldn't be shocked.
Wow. I mean, we'll see. That one will be worth watching. When will we?
I don't want it to happen. I just don't think that NFL owners and GMs have morals, like at all. I don't think they care. Like the suspensions for these people, like people like Rashee Rice, it's like going 1,000,000 miles an hour down the highway, crashing into people, and then walking away, and no one cares. Literally, no one cares. And like, obviously,
It's not funny,
doing
but it's so true.
disgusting things to women deserves the harshest penalty you can get. But also, so does what Rashee Rice is doing, and no one cares. They're like, okay, whatever, punk, just go out there and play ball.
Yep. Pretty much.
Like, and he still has fans. People will still wear his jersey. Same like with Tucker, his was worse in my opinion, but like still, I don't think they care that much. It's all PR. Like once it's all under the rug, it's all a PR thing.
Oh yeah, it's funny you say that because completely unrelated but semi-related. I watched the Poop Cruise documentary on Netflix. Did you see that?
No.
It's about a Carnival cruise ship that had a fire. It burned through all of the power lines on the boat. And the toilets required electricity to flush. And people kept pooping in the toilets despite the fact that it couldn't flush. I don't even remember how this related.
I don't actually either.
I remember. So basically, they interviewed one of the PR guys at Carnival, and all he kept talking about was how much of a PR nightmare this was and how they were trying to keep it under wraps. And when it finally somehow got out, they were like freaking out about the fact that this news was hitting CNN. It's like, how about the fact that your boat is like a floating toilet? Like,
oh, no one cares that like I don't think that people would actually be mad that Tucker is on the team. I think that they would just be mad that it's a bad look. Yes. That is the only reason he's not starting today. Is the only reason. Like, I do not think that people actually care about it. They just care about how it would look.
Yeah, I think those that are in power 100% believe that. Like, they just care about the outlook, and they want results. They don't care about how they get them.
No.
So
John Harbaugh harbored him knowing all of this for like the last decade. Harbaugh's on the Epstein list, by the way. Did you hear about that?
No, I did not.
He's not. He's not.
I was going to say, what the fuck?
Apparently, no one's on the Epstein list, actually.
Yeah, Elon Musk just keeps threatening to release them, and he just doesn't.
It's because Harbaugh has a lot of power. Who has it better than him?
It's because Harbaugh's on the Epstein list.
Yeah.
Oh, it's hilarious. All right. My next take here is I think another good one. I think that the Falcons missed the playoffs and Raheem Morris is canned at the end of 2025. Fucking gone, fired, gone for good.
You hate that guy.
I hate that guy. It's very hard to fully convince people, similar to Jacksonville, that there are reasons to be pessimistic about a team that has so much talent. But the one thing that can derail a roster, a team that's so good on paper, is clear and utter dysfunction. And like he reeks of it. It reeks from his bald head. The amount of dysfunction, like you can smell it miles away. And the sad part is, we knew he wasn't good at his job because he did this once already and he sucked. And now he's here in Atlanta. His biggest blunder of the first season coaching was letting 30 seconds run with a timeout with the season on the line, and he just had his thumb up his ass because he was frozen like a deer in headlights, and he just went home with a timeout, and his season's over. Like a fucking 8-year-old child playing Madden would have had the wherewithal to call a timeout there, and he just froze. And the last 16 weeks of his life, of his team's life, was wasted because he was too incompetent to call a timeout. Like, that in itself was a fireable offense. And that's without even mentioning the fact that they probably wouldn't even have been in that dire of a situation in week 17 had he just benched Kirk Cousins like 3 weeks earlier. The guy was on a streak of throwing 1 touchdown to 9 picks after that streak was over. Didn't you realize he was cooked at some point before that? I think everyone else did. The sad part is they benched him after he won a game and broke the losing streak, and then they benched him. So it's like, I just don't think Raheem Morris has what it takes.
The Falcons organization has pissed me off a ton because they have great players. They're falling into their lap. And a lot of their really good players have kind of came before this administration. Like Chris Lindstrom is, in my opinion, the best guard in the NFL. I think Bijan's one of the best running backs, fell to their lap. Drake London's one of the best receivers in the NFL, fell to their lap. Jesse Bates went to them on a pretty cheap deal for some reason. Like all of their best players, like these weren't good picks. Terry Fontenot's an idiot. Like the Penix draft pick plus the Kirk Cousins signing at the same time. It was like the dumbest combo of moves I've ever seen in my life. And they're just getting away with it because I don't know why, actually. People are not holding this against them. And like I think Zach Robinson is the only competent person in this organization. I think the offense will hum. I think it is a really good unit. And I think the defense is fine. But I can see this team being like that one Chargers team that finished first overall in offense and defense and still missed the playoffs because the coaching and special teams were that bad. And I'm a Younghoe Koo believer. I don't think the special teams will be the problem. I just think that like situational football is not going to be their strong suit. Decision making and all that sort. Like that's not Raheem Morris's game. Hell, I don't even know what the hell it is, honestly.
No, I don't either.
Like he was a fine D coordinator with great players. And it wasn't like he was out here like elevating bad rosters and making them good. So I don't really know what the hell his deal is and how he's still out here. But it sucks because this Falcons team has some of my favorite players on it. They're just going to get ruined by a dumb baldy.
Yes. Like literally, like word for word, dumb baldy. They won some of the games they won early on were just unfathomable. Like they beat the Eagles because Saquon dropped a dump off on 4th down or whatever ended up happening. They beat the Bucks because one Achilles Kirk Cousins threw fucking 500 yards. Like
Kadero Hodge was prime Randy Moss in that game.
Like they beat the Raiders 15-9 because somehow Vegas was so much worse. Like it's not like they had a feel good year at all. They were 6-3 at the break, were the worst pass rushing team in football and still didn't get anybody. And then this offseason, sign 32-year-old Leonard Floyd, overpay for James Pierce to get back into the first round, and then drafted a tweener. Like, who's to say that fixes the pass rush issues? Who knows? But all I know is I have zero faith in the administration to put any of these players in the best situation to succeed outside of Zach Robinson with the skill positions. I will give him grace.
Yeah.
But with that said, you mentioned the offense will hum. I think it is going to hum. I'm just afraid of the secondary looking like what it looked like against the Vikings. That is a perfect representation of what the Falcons are as an organization. Just safeties and defensive backs running into each other as Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson gritty their way into the end zone. Like, that is pretty much what their season's going to be like. But on the other hand, Michael Penix at least will probably throw for like 4,800 yards, like 45 touchdowns, and like 22 picks, and Drake London will go insane. So it'll be the greatest fantasy team ever.
It'd be awesome. The offensive line's good too. Like they have a new center. I thought he played well in his limited time. Everyone else is pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. There's not really any weaknesses on that offense. The defense is just like, I thought that they did a good job adding to pass rush, but then now none of their edge rushers can stop the run. Mm-hmm. Like James Pierce and Leonard Floyd are like the two skinniest edge rushers in the NFL. Like now, like they're just getting like three guys that all play the same way. Mm-hmm. Bring back D'Angelo. Is D'Angelo Malone still there?
I don't think so.
I miss that guy. Him and God, I miss that. But...
Yeah, I mean, on paper they don't look bad, but I really think they're just going to be ruined by dysfunction, and Arthur Blank is going to be like, you know what, Baldy, you got to go. Like,
yeah, got to go. Antonio Pierce is coming in, pal. That will be the next head coach. But I like that. I hate it because I like that team, but I appreciate that. All right, for my next one, I believe that DeAndre Swift will not finish top 2 in Chicago Bears rushing touchdowns. This is not against him as a overall fantasy player, but rushing touchdowns.
Well, I have to ask the ensuing question. If not him, who will be the top 2?
I almost would guarantee Roschon Johnson's number 1.
Okay.
But I think that they will use Kyle Monangai a little bit heavier towards the goal line than Swift. And I think that Caleb Williams also has a chance to unlock his legs. Because in college, that dude was rushing for like 8 touchdowns a year. Just for some reason last year, I mean, not for some reason, his offensive tackles were... Actually, his tackles were fine. His interior offensive line was awful. So I think that is a good reason why he didn't have a lot. Plus, having Ben Johnson can unlock some stuff. But Ben Johnson has never liked DeAndre Swift as a goal line guy. It's never been a thing that he wanted for him. Mm-hmm. So Roschon Johnson and him actually tied for 6 rushing touchdowns last year. So I don't think you would be crazy if Johnson takes that lead over him, which would just leave Swift with Kyle Monangai, who is a power back at heart, a little bowling ball, and Caleb Williams, who is going to touch the ball a lot. So I wouldn't be shocked if Swift only has 4 or 5 touchdowns, and Caleb Williams, finds himself about 5 touchdowns.
I have kicked around the idea of Roschon being that Jamal Williams to Swift dynamic duo, and we know what that looked like. Jamal Williams had probably 105 total yards on the season, but he had 20 touchdowns. So who cares?
I feel like he had 1,000.
No way.
I think he might have.
Jamal Williams did not rush for 1,000 yards that year. No fucking way.
He did at some point, I feel like. Yeah, he had 1,066 yards and 17 touchdowns.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He
had to have started a few games. What?
He played all 17. He started 9.
The fuck? How do I not remember that?
Yeah,
he was a legit, he was damn near an RB1 then.
He had 262 carries.
Wow. Where was I?
Well, the next year he had 306 yards. So, and has had 2 touchdowns since 2022 total. So it kind of makes sense. And I'm pretty sure one of them was on a fake kneel. So I don't know how much he's earning here, but yeah, I mean, that was honestly before that, he had 600 yards, 500 yards the year before. He was not a bad back.
No.
Yeah, he wasn't just a goal line merchant. The dude literally had 1,000 yards rushing. That's crazy.
I never considered him a goal line merchant until that season.
He had 73 receiving yards that year. Like literally didn't catch anything. It was just all rushing.
The fuck. What an
Damn.
interesting season.
Yeah.
Well, good for him.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Roshan could be exactly that. Except I don't
Maybe.
think 1,000 yards would be. That would mean Swift did something, did a big no-no at some point.
I mean, he has a lot of no-nos on the actual football field. He's just fun in open space. But like,
Yeah.
as an actual like pure like running back purist, like I'm not sure if Eric Bieniemy is going to be in there, like, cussing him out all the time. But
Yeah.
Kyle Monangai just seems like an Eric Bieniemy kind of back, and Roshan Johnson's definitely a Ben Johnson back. So I just think I wouldn't be that shocked if Swift isn't top 2 in touchdowns. The yards, I think he dominates touches and yards, but actual touchdowns, I think he could get shaky.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes complete sense. I mean, just looking at the history between Ben Johnson and his usage of DeAndre Swift, I think that makes complete sense. It's just I don't know. It would have to be Kyle because I can't imagine. I'm having a hard time envisioning Caleb Williams taking away goal line. Well, I guess it depends. Like,
I think he could just scramble in 4.
Yeah,
I mean, like people like Jordan Love, Justin Herbert, they might rush for 5 in a year.
Yeah.
Like it really isn't all that crazy, especially if they do a little bit under center. He gets, a QB sneak or 2.
Mm-hmm.
He is a good scrambler. We just didn't see him take it vertically a lot last year because I think that he was also being told not to. It's kind of a Shane Waldron thing. So I really would not be shocked. But yeah, I mean, in Detroit, I mean, DeAndre Swift before last year had 3 straight seasons of 5 rushing touchdowns. So 6 last year was his best since his rookie year. So like, I don't think it's too crazy to think he only gets 5 again. And Roshan Johnson also had 6 last year. I don't think it'd be crazy to say he has more. And then if Caleb Williams can just scramble for a couple, it could happen.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I mean, I want Caleb to use his damn legs and to get more involved because I mean, I think he might have one of the best college highlight tapes in history. And a lot of that was on the ground too, which is pretty crazy to say for someone that was as good as he was through the air. Like,
he's a crazy underrated athlete.
Yes.
It's just because he kind of looks funky when kind of like Mahomes. I think he's a better athlete than Mahomes, though.
I would say so.
In terms of actual speed, like in terms of like actual like explosive ability, he's a better athlete than Mahomes. And Mahomes could rush for 5 touchdowns in a year if he actually ever wanted to.
Yeah.
Or needed to.
I mean, 5 really isn't. I mean, it's a lot, but it really isn't. Like,
it's not a lot for a QB that can run.
Right.
To me.
Not at all. And when you're looking at it from a running back perspective, like, that's pretty low for a starting running back. So, yeah, I like it. I like it. I can, unlike Justin Tucker for 3 points, I think I can get behind this one a little bit.
What's crazy is like that one isn't even that crazy. The Tucker one, it's like all it takes is literally.
No, I think that's crazy. I think
all it takes is one team to sign him and he kicks 1 field goal. Like the actual logistics to get that done is the easiest of all of these takes that we've talked about. It just takes one team to drop their morals for like a minute, and it happens easily.
I don't know.
I don't think he starts off the season. I think that like some team's going to get into kicker doo-doo, and they're going to have to make a choice.
Yeah. Well, I hope, but he better not start the season. I would be shocked. I would be shocked. Well, I do have one final take, and I wanted to express this. I really wanted to express this because I can't tell if it's a hot take or not. I think it depends on the person, and I guess I'm going to find out that the person you are in this way. I think the fixings of Thanksgiving have to be the most overrated plate in history. It's like insanely overblown how good Thanksgiving is. Like, it's not good, actually. I will go as far as to say it's not good.
I would say I would prefer most holidays over it. Give me that ham. Drop the turkey. I don't care that dry meat, that white meat. No one needs white meat. No, I want that dark meat.
Yes, I'm glad you agree because there are some real diehard Thanksgiving food believers out there. And anytime I say that turkey sucks to them, the first thing they say is, "Well, your family doesn't know how to cook turkey, or you've never had an actual good turkey. It's like, it just isn't good. Like, I'll eat 4 or 5 different birds before I eat a fucking turkey. Like, I
Yeah,
would rather have ham clears turkey.
by far.
Clear.
I gained like 30 pounds in the summer from eating just ham and hot pockets, like alone. Like I used to go through like a bag of a boar's head ham in like 3 days.
Yeah.
It's that good. Turkey, I want nothing to do with it. Maybe if I'm by the pool and I have like my wet hands with like the Doritos and a turkey sandwich, but like I want nothing to do with a turkey at my holiday. Stuffing is disgusting. Also, want nothing to do with it. Mashed potatoes, cool. If somebody got mac and cheese going on, cool. Whatever. You can do that at any holiday.
Mhm.
Thanksgiving is just the most bland, brown, boring food of all time. I'm in completely on that take.
I'm so glad, because I agree. Like, stuffing I actually used to kind of enjoy, but as I've gotten older, you would think my palate would evolve to like it more, but it's actually kind of went in reverse. Stuffing's no longer that great to me. I'm not a mashed potatoes person, so that makes it even worse. Like, at least
Yeah.
the saving grace for some people is, mashed potatoes are delicious. Well, to me, I don't like mashed potatoes. I also cannot stand cranberry sauce. Like, whoever
Oh
the
God,
fuck
Jesus Christ!
popularized that bullshit
I
needs to be
don't
hung.
even don't even
Like,
touch that shit.
I
That's
know.
disgusting.
Like,
Ugh.
the
Like I
only
like gravy. Gravy's awesome to me,
yeah.
but but you could do that at any holiday if you really want. Like I'm not eating green bean casserole.
Yeah, I know.
I'm smacking that out your hands if you hand me a plate. It's going like a school bully. I'm smacking that tray onto the ground. I am not eating that. Like you can't make me.
My favorite part of Thanksgiving is the fucking rolls.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, I
it.
like rolls.
And I
But
love
like
rolls, but, like, that's bad. If that's what I'm looking forward to, we're down bad.
and that's
Like,
all yeah, it's always like you've just never had a good turkey. But I've had
yeah.
other families' turkeys. I have eaten other Thanksgivings. I have had turkey served every which way.
Mhm.
Fried, baked, cooked, grilled, whatever the hell you want to do to it. Like it's fine. It's okay. Whatever.
Yep. When I am old enough and have a family to serve Thanksgiving for, I'm sure as shit not doing any type of traditional. I'll get a fucking pizza for all I care.
My
I'll get
grandma
a
makes a
pizza.
ham. It's great.
Yep.
Love it.
Make a ham, get a pizza, anything but the traditional Thanksgiving spread. I'm in on. Just
I
so
appreciate that.
overrated.
I
So
appreciate
overrated.
that. And then for my final take, I also have a food take. If you're an adult and you consider yourself a man, you should not be eating cereal.
Oh my god! I just unplugged my headset.
my my entire reasoning being is like sugar is bad. I mean, cereal's bad for you. Cereal is not good for you. It's loaded with sugar, super high in carbs. Like cereal is like beer in the morning. It
No.
is just calories and carbs with no protein. There's nothing going for you except that you will just be full. But a protein bar is the same amount of speed, but it's way better for you. And you'll actually like not be a skinny little like baby. But if you want to be a man and you pour yourself a bowl of cereal, you need to look in that mirror and watch yourself eat that cereal and be like, I'm a man, because it's not happening.
Like,
And
I won't sit here and defend cereal because I don't eat it every morning. I do have cereal every once in a while. I think honestly it's better fit to be like a midday snack than it is even like a breakfast.
yes, cereal is a snack. If
Yes.
you are using it as a meal, if cereal is like the way that you are going to go about your day, and like that's your meal, like you're counting that on your calorie counter, like, yep, maybe that's how I'm starting. And I'll get lunch and dinner later. Hell no, hell no. If I mean like, it also depends on the cereal because I like some as a snack, and I'll get like a small amount of it. But if I'm pouring a whole bowl, finishing then pouring more, you're like Greg Heffley. You're like a little kid.
Like,
That's not going to happen.
I find this hilarious because I for one, I live in a household where my brother does go to the gym and he's developed a very high need for protein in almost every meal, and I don't have that. So I like he's like he doesn't call me small, but I know he just has that thought process in the back of his head. Like even my coworkers, both of my coworkers, they go to the gym and they're like 6'2", like 200 something. Like I'm 6 foot 6'1" on a good day, and I'm like 175, 180. And they tell me like you have no excuse for being under 200 pounds. I'm like, bro, I just
Victim weight.
I don't even.
You're a victim.
Exactly. See, and I know you land on that side of the spectrum. So it's hilarious because to me, I can eat cereal for breakfast and I don't feel like I'm any less than a fucking man, but I know if there's no protein in the goddamn meal, then it can't be a meal to you people. I don't understand
No.
the frame of mind that you've been trained where you feel like you have to have a fucking meat every time you eat something.
It doesn't have to be meat. I eat protein bars all the time. Protein shakes. I eat like I drink like a protein shake a day.
Yes, protein. Protein.
Yes.
It's all about the fucking protein.
It
protein,
is.
protein.
It is what you eat.
Jesus Christ.
Your body is 75% what you eat.
I can't escape
The gym matters. The gym is important. But eating high protein, low carb diet, low sugar, keep all added sugar out of your diet. You don't need that shit in there.
Oh my god.
Don't
listen to the anti-fun guy over here, Mr.
No,
Protein.
all you need
cereal.
is a white Monster.
Okay. And like
And,
okay, so you can't fucking eat cereal, but you'll drink like White Monster. If anything, I have a problem with energy drinks. Like, how do people consume energy drinks?
I'm not drinking those anymore. But do you remember Bangs? I used to drink a Bang almost twice a day in high school.
Oh my god!
Like before school, then before wrestling practice.
That's crazy. Like I have a buddy that was like that. I think he drank the Kickstarts that Mountain Dew did, and now like a bunch of my friends are drinking the like whatever Ghost is.
Ghost is much more intense than even a White Monster is. Ghost is like a pre-workout for a drink.
So what the fuck is wrong with people? Like just drink water.
Like that has beta alanine, which is like a compound that acts as a pre-workout. Like it makes you itchy. Like that's like the shit that makes you itchy in C4 and stuff. It's the same thing. Like that's nuts.
What happened to drinking water, man? Like
I've been drinking coffee. Like I drink energy drinks every day for like a half a decade, but I'm starting to drink coffee now, and it's good.
Are you a black coffee drinker?
No, hell no.
Yeah, I'm not a coffee drinker, but if I ever was, it
would
just have to be loaded with cream and sugar.
Do you just like raw dogs a day?
Yeah,
you just wake up like, and then just go to work.
Yes, I do. I don't know how people have like coffee addiction is it runs so rampant in our country. Like it's bad. Like so many people, whether it's fucking Ghost, Monster, Kickstarter, coffee, like they have that. And I guess, am I wild for just waking up, taking a shower, and going to work with my bottle of water? Like, is that crazy?
At some point, energy drinks won't even be a thing. Like I'm about to start smoking crack before I go to work.
I know you're on track because you're progressively going through the.
Oh, I'm getting better.
All right, that's good. I'm glad. But cereal, I think we need to leave cereal out of the crossfire
for babies. It is a very good thing for babies.
Well, I for one have probably caught a Greg Heffley comp at some point in my life. So maybe at some stage of my skinny life, and I embrace it. All right, I got length. I got that. I got that. Who's a tall, lengthy corner? I don't know.
Carrington
Valentine. I got that build, so I embrace it. I got that. I can play trail. I can, get underneath the ball and punch it out with my long arms. I have my benefits. Okay.
Hey, I'm a lean guy. I used to be. I wrestled at 152. I was a very skinny guy at this height, but I can't be a victim anymore.
A victim.
I can't be a victim.
Is insane.
I'm not getting kidnapped. It's not happening.
I don't think I would get that's the thing. Like I think my brother said something like that too. He's like, no one's gonna pick on me now. I said, who was picking on you to begin with? Like, what's gonna happen?
You're gonna get stolen by Rhett. He's going to he's gonna kidnap you. Nothing you can do about it until you're past victim weight.
No. I have the ability to wiggle out. Like I'm like squirmish. It comes with flexibility and agility, being squeamish and skinny. So it has its perks.
Fair.
Do you have any football takes left on tap?
I only had like a couple more, but nothing super important. The only one left that was interesting was I think that Malaki Starks could win Defensive Rookie of the Year. And I predicted this on my TikTok, but like edge rushers usually win it. I love Abdul Carter. I love all these guys, but like I don't know if I see a huge sack total for them necessarily. Maybe more of like a Jared Verse type of year. But I think Malaki Starks as like the starting free safety on probably the best defense in the country this year with Kyle Hamilton, with good corners. Like he's just going to be in a really good spot to be what Geno Stone was a few years ago and just pick people off on deflections all year long. I would not be shocked if he has like 6 picks his rookie year.
Yeah, I mean, how many did Evan Williams have this year? I think he had a few for Green Bay.
Probably like 3 off the top of my head, I feel like, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, either way, like being able to play like free safety, just so loose, and being able to trust that you have like competent teammates around you, like that allows you to play so much more almost aggressive at times, like just being able to trust what you have around you. And I do think that Malaki Starks, I don't know, I could even see him not even deflections, like him going up and getting a football.
Oh, he'll absolutely get a couple of those. Yeah.
Like he'll climb a ladder. Like we've seen him do it.
Yeah. I think he is one of the better safety prospects I've scouted, but I also think that like playing in that kind of secondary is also going to lead to a lot of really good opportunities for you. Like I think he might get 3 to 4 picks on his own. But I could also see Jair Alexander, Marlon Humphrey, Nate Wiggins, Kyle Hamilton causing problems, tipping the balls in the air, and he's just sitting right there to collect like a really high interception number for a rookie.
Yeah. Hey, I'm all for it. I think Kyle Hamilton and Malaki Starks could end up being one of the best safety duos of the last like 15 years. So
yeah, number 1.
Like easily the bread and butter.
Yeah.
I do not have any football takes left, so we can wrap it up. I mean, of course I have more, but for the sake of I think we could probably talk takes all night long, but for the sake of time, we will wrap it up here. As always, if you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, share, join the Discord down in the description below. You can meet Rhett, my future kidnapper. You can talk football with us, mock draft. We do all sorts of shit in the Discord. Highly recommend you check it out. But until then, we will see you in episode 46.